Hey, Shalom Markin, this is Vakar Makapash from GMS Learning, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Chachadash. I want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful elect, pushing this truth in all sincerity. Back in with another video, and I just wanted to, get into the topic of, Trump and his role in global affairs. This war that is, transpiring between Israel and Iran and his part in it. Because Scripture tells us, man, these small acts, man, they're the least of the flock, and they're gonna draw everyone into war, right? But America played a critical role, right? Babylon the Great plays a critical role in the war, right? And we can see how America, Babylon the Great, is that, or Esau in general, right? Is that big bad bully in the earth, okay? That gets what he wants through means of violence, right? And if you don't want to play ball with America, with Esau, okay, he will come with force to take and to do what he wants, because power has been given into his hand. Okay, the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked man. We keep telling you this over and over again, and you don't seem to understand, right? You need to understand, right? That Esau is alive and kicking. He's the devil. You saw who white people are, the Edomites, right? And Trump is the standout example of this, right? Whose look was more stout than his fellows, right? I think I got it here somewhere. Let me just more stout, right? Because the pride that exudes from America and Trump, being the leader of America, right, is greater than everybody else's, man. And like I said, these people, these Edomites, okay, are prepared to bully you into submission, right? Let me read this quickly. Daniel chapter 7 verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that speak very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellow, right? These are American Edomites, right? Are more prouder than the rest of these other Edomites. More arrogant, right? And Trump is is a shining example to that. But I said these people will bully you into submission because they have the power. Okay, Trump was talking about how we got or the air superiority and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, because you're the prince and power of the air, right? Again, the earth has been given into your hands, man, and you get to do what you want to do with it because it's your kingdom, it's your rulership right now, and no nation can really stand up against you, right? Not as a single entity at the very least, right? And this is why the nations are gathering themselves together to rise up against you and your system, right? But these articles here, I typed in Trump, Iran should have made the deal, because this is what man was saying. Well, they should have made the deal. If they had made the deal, this wouldn't have happened. It's like all these threats, finally come to pass. We told you should have took the deal. Should have took the deal. Now you're getting bombed up, right? Because this is like gunboat diplomacy. Is how Esau's always done things, right? When he doesn't get his own way, he will come. He will come with the troops, and say they're using using Israel right now to to be attacking your cities and your infrastructure, right? Because you didn't do what they wanted you to do, right? That's oppression. That is oppression, right? Because they've decided that you man can't have no nuclear capabilities. That's it, because they have decided. Because their track record and they're so righteous, and they're just better than everybody else, even though they're the only nation on the earth that have used nuclear weapons or atomic bombs against another nation, right? But these are the judges in the earth, so to speak. They're the ones that get to decide what's good and what's not, even though these men are the devil. A bunch of hypocrites, right? And so Babylon the Great, i.e. America, okay, is that hammer in the earth that has ruled this world in oppression. All right. This is from Jeremiah 50 verse 23. It says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? Who's he talking about? Babylon, right? But this modern day Babylon, okay? This modern day Babylon, which is America, right? America is the hammer of the whole earth. And that's why even America's own allies, they're afraid. They're afraid, man. Trump was over here in the UK not too long ago, signing a deal with the UK, right, for these new trade deals, right? Knowing that England's getting fucked, we're getting a shitty end of a stick, but it's better than what what he was about to do. You know, all these fucking crazy tariffs that he was throwing on everybody, right? So UK had to kind of bow to the pressure and do these deals. Now, you know, they're not great deals for us, but, you know, they try and sell it like it, you know, it's going to create thousands of jobs and this and that. It's going to boost your economy and all this bullshit. But it's really a shitty deal. Okay, America's getting the best out of that. But, you know, but that's what the master gets, right? The one in power gets the best deal, right? And so, you know, that's what they're doing. He's bullying even his own allies. Right, so it is literally the whole earth that America is bullying. Right, through threats, violence, and economic destruction. This is what he's doing. Right, and like I said, Trump is the one in power doing all of that right now. Right, so again, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? Because America's going to be destroyed. That is the ultimate judgment of America, man. You know, all this abuse of power is gonna end in a sad way for him, for America, right? So it's gonna be cut asunder, right? It says, how is Babylon become a desolation among the nations, right? Because you were so strong. You were the big bully on the block. How was you taken out? You know, how was you taken out? You're in such a strong position. How was you taken out? Right? But again, this is all the Lord's doing. This is all prophecy, manifesting itself. That's why it goes on to say, verse 24, I have laid a snare for thee, a trap for Babylon, right? Thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord, right? Because America, contrary to probably believe, is not a land of God, not a nation of godliness. They don't fear God. That place is full of idols. Okay, and evil and wickedness, depravity, degeneracy, right? This place, or that place, is the valley of the shadow of death, right? And they have striven against the Lord, and that is why you're going to be ultimately destroyed. Okay, all this war that you're conjuring on the earth, right? You're gonna get caught up in that, and you're gonna receive the worst of it. That's why it goes on to say, verse 25, the Lord have opened his armory. Right, it's time, right? The Lord opening up to be used, right? So the Lord's preparing all these nations. Okay, he's preparing the angels. Okay, getting ready for your destruction. The Lord have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation, right? That's these missiles, these nuclear weapons that are so devastating that all you men are, saying that no one can use them, or you're saying that Iran can't even have them because they might destroy Israel with them, right? You think that they're that stupid? The whole reason, right, these whole nuclear weapons are not even being used today is right because everyone knows once one nation launches nukes, bro, it's over. All these nations are gonna be launching whatever they got, and it's gonna be a sad time for everybody, right? What they call that mutually assured destruction. That's why no one uses them, because everyone knows these things are too fucking destructive. But it's a good deterrent, right? Because that's why you got them, right? But you won't allow other nations to have them because they might strike this an ally of ours, or they might strike us, or they got crazy leaders, so they might do some crazy shit, right? All these excuses why these men can't have it. They can't have the deterrent, right? Because you can't bully someone that has weapons of the same kind of devastation. You can't just threaten it, because if a man shoots a missile on you, man, it's peak for you, regardless of them not being able to sustain it because they haven't got as many, or whatever the case may be. A nuke touches America or wherever, man, it's peak, right? It's a loss of life that these men don't really want to see from like one missile. It's too crazy, and the fallout after it, it's too mad, right? But obviously, people in the Middle East like Iran and shit, they're really getting bullied by America because they got the big guns. and Iran hasn't got no way to defend himself. They man are asking Russia for help. Oh, can we please have some of your S-300 missile defense systems so we don't get we can protect ourselves and protect our facilities and that kind of stuff. These men haven't got no real way to defend themselves, but those have the spirit on them, to build themselves up, become stronger, right? Have their own, their technologies, and have their alliances and that, because the Lord's preparing them all for war, to go to war with Israel and America and NATO and so on, right? That's what the Lord, that's what the Lord's doing right now, and this is why this conflict is gonna overblow, right, and end up becoming that conflict in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, World War III. All right, but like I said, Esau right now, he the power, right? So he the one bullying people into submission, blowing the shit out of people, man. Right, telling them, well, you should have took the deal. If you had taken the deal, this wouldn't have happened. It's gangsterism shit. Because that's what America is on the earth, a terrorizer. Right, we're talking about all these T to terrorists, right? America is the biggest one. You Edomites are the biggest throughout history. All right. Let me grab this, Genesis 27 verse 40, and this is the blessing that Esau received. Right, verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword, right, by violence, by death, right, shalt thou live. That's how you get shit done. And that's how you're getting shit done today. This is the same method, tried and proven. All right. When you want something, when you want to get something done, you go in with force, because no one can really stand up against you. All right. Iran know that. Yeah, they could probably take on it in Israel, but they can't take on America. That is a suicide mission. You know what unique America's got. You need someone like Russia to stand up against America, right? And these players, they've not come into the ring yet, right? So Iran are having to deal with this attack, going back and forth with Israel, right? Without trying to provoke America in doing too much. All right, but again, they've been forced into the situation because of Esau, because of America, right? Because they're the bullies. It says, and by the sword thou shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Right, so he lives by violence. He lives by a sword. The same way they got America, same way they got the rest of the world. It's the ways. It's his ways. Right, that's how he's done everything. Right, to look at it any other way is just ridiculous. Right, through violence, as he, is he in the position that he's in. Right, and so he's continuing, just doing the same thing over and over. Right, like he's changed. And like I said, Trump is not apologetic with the shit. He proud as hell and arrogant as hell. Like I say, he's stout. He's looking more stout than his fellows. Perfect dude for the job. All right. Trump says Iran should have made the deal earlier, and then that's what the man could say. Man, I'm not sorry. Like, he said, it's sad to see. They should have took the deal. I told them to take the deal. They didn't want to take the deal. But now they're gonna want to take the deal. But the loss of life is, all of this. Like it couldn't have been avoided. Like he didn't. Like he didn't have to go and approve the attack and all this kind of stuff or whatever. Trump approves the Iran attack plan, but has not made final decision, reports say. Right. So, he ain't all in just yet. He reckons they're going to sign the deal because the men are under pressure right now, man. Missiles are dropping on the capital cities, and civilians are dying. Like, what the fuck? Just because they didn't agree with what America wanted, then that's what it took. You don't agree with America, then expect them to roll up on your shit, right, and force you to submit. right? Because they can. All right. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 8. It says, because thou hast spoiled many nations. Right? Esau spoiled many nations, right? Like, the history is vast, well known, right? He spoiled many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, right? So you're not going to have your own way, always, right? These nations are and have been getting prepared to go to war with you, man, because that's the only language that that you understand, right? And that's why the Lord is raising nations up against you, man. And it's taking time, but they're gonna group together. They're gonna band together under Russia, under China, and they're gonna band together and come to blows with you, man. Okay, and Israel gonna suffer, great loss, and so is America. Okay, and America is gonna be completely utterly destroyed. Right? So all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood and for the violence of the land, right? Because you live by the sword, right? And of the city and all that dwell therein. Woe to him that converteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil, right? So that's when you've gone around and pillaged everybody, right? And subdued everybody, right? So you can live higher standard, man. That you can protect yourself, from evils, right? You put yourself at the top, and you're not at the top by a small margin. America's at the top by a large margin, right? Just that most Americans don't feel it because your elites are they're like cancers, man, right? And they're just sucking everything dry out, and you people, everyone's suffering in America now, right? But these elites, man, no, they're good, man. They're super fat. Getting nourished off America, man, like you wouldn't believe. Right? So them men setting themselves up well above all of that. Right? They have the power and the means to do all this crazy shit, man, and force regime change and all kinds of shit. So thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. Right? For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. Right? That's the foundation of America. All of Esau's kingdom, every place that he occupies and rules over right now is got in the same way. Right? And this is why it's going to be taken away from him. All right. What was that? No, I don't need that bit. All right. So, oops. Is Isaiah 14 verse 6. Start from verse 5. This is actually verse 4, right? It says, thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, right, and say, how have the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased, right? Because again, America is going to be destroyed, right? It hasn't been yet, but it's gonna, right? Because it's been ruling the earth with great wickedness, so to speak, oppression, right? Lord have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. Like I said, they have a whole military industrial complex, man. They wage wars all day, every day. Right? Undermining nations with their secret services and all that kind of stuff. They're doing all that every day. Sending the economic hitmen. Pumping drugs and taking drugs and shit from places, oil, confiscating materials and resources. They're doing this shit all day, every day. All right. So he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. Ain't no one gonna care when it happens to you, man. That you can believe, right? The only people that are gonna be upset are the merchants that be making bare money off you. That is it, right? People are waiting for you to get your come up. They're going to feel some satisfaction in your destruction, man. None some more than us, though. Alright? It says, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Everyone's going to be rejoicing, man. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no feather is come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved from thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth, right? That's why the Lord's, getting ready these nations to rise up against you, right? It have raised up their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become as weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Because you're going to get brought down super low. Right now, you're super high, right? Like people, people dream about having the amount of power that you do and influence in the world that you do, right? And you got nations trying to become the new you, right? China and them, man, they're trying to become the new you. But, right, all these nations are going to be brought down, right? But you got the furthest to fall, right? Because you're at the highest, you're in the heavens, man. You live in your heavens, man, right? And you got the furthest to fall, and so you're gonna be brought down to everybody else's level, man. And they're gonna take the piss out of you, man. They'll look down upon you. All right. This mighty power on the earth isn't gonna be so mighty, okay, when they're taken out. All right. So they're gonna despise you and look down upon you. Okay. So all they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp, which is thy pride, right, is brought down to the grave. You're not going to be so proud, in the pits, And the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, right? And this is talking about you Edomites, beginning with you elites. Because really, you're the one sitting up in the heavens right now. Okay, you're at, living in that lavish lifestyle, man. Okay, with all that power and wealth, right? How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which do weaken the nations? Is that not what America does? Like I say, 24/7. They've got the military, they've got the secret services, and it's not just them, because you got the other Edomite counterparts here in Europe. They got their secret services and their militaries and all that kind of stuff. They could control and manage everything, man. Oppressing people. France in Africa and shit, like all these different places, they're just oppressing people and stealing from them essentially. They were giving deals, fair trade, all this shit, right? But they're getting robbed. They're getting robbed because they're not in a position to negotiate really. And this is what you do, because they have no power. In your sight, they have no power, and so they're easy pickings, man. You take advantage of them. You take advantage of everybody. You're fucking scum, right? That needs to be getting rid of, man. Because you can't keep just, you won't keep doing this. You won't keep doing this, man. But we see it over and over again, man. You ain't gonna keep doing this. Just throwing your weight around, just bullying people up, because you can, because you want a particular outcome or whatever, man. Well, we want a particular outcome, man, and our power is gonna throw his weight around. How about that? Our Lord is coming to throw his weight around. Well, you will see. We're gonna see. See if you're gonna do anything about it. Fucking pussy. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait for the Lord to turn up, man, and just fuck up your day, like, permanently. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait for you to be emasculated in front of the angels and everything, man, in front of the whole world, just getting blitzed. Just getting blitzed, man. You got no power. You'll have no power in front of the Lord and the angels, man. Right? And you're gonna get a taste, man. Right? Yeah, I'm reading on, right? It says, verse 13, For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Right? Because you've heavily violated against the Lord, man, by having his children. And he goes to Spanish, Native Americans, man, these children in slavery, man. And again, taking advantage of them, abusing them, extorting them. Right? You violated heavily against the Heavenly Father. All right? I will ascend up the heights of the cloud. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake kingdoms? It's like they're not going to be able to believe it. Because ultimately, man, you man that ruling the earth, man, you're fragile creatures. You're not mighty men. You know, but you got everybody on the payroll, so everyone has to respect that, because, you know, man can get you hit. They ain't going to do it themselves, but they can get you hit. Right? Because they got the power. You know? The spirit's on them. But they're going to look at you and they're not going to respect you. They ain't going to rate you. You know, all you elite banking families and shit, they ain't going to rate you, man. You know? Bunch of fucking robotniks, man. Like, they ain't going to rate you, man. I want to read on, man. This is the verse 17, that made the world as a wilderness. Like I said, there's always conflict that you're behind, right? Behind all this destruction in the planet, in nature, in the waters, in you know, the forests, right? You're causing mass destruction to the planet. You yourself are a weapon of mass destruction, man. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be gotten rid of, right? You're cancer of the earth, and the Lord's gonna remove you. You know. That's why even these trees are gonna be singing, man. They're gonna be like sighing, you know, in relief that you are out of power. You know. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Did I miss something? Yeah, I missed something. Slakia. Back to 17, it says that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, right? That opened not the house of his prisoners, because we're still captivity, man. We're not been let free, right? We're not free from your power, your influence, your laws, and you know your influence. We're not free, right? So we're still in your hands, right? But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Right? Because the Lord said He's gonna permanently put you down. The Lord said you're gonna build, but I shall throw down, right? Make them perpetual desolations. Right? So I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and the remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. All right. So like I said, you're this hammer of the earth, man. You're the one that been, you know, the bully in the world, right? Because you have all this power, and it's gone. You're tripping, man. It's gone to your head, right? What do I have here? Yeah. So Revelation 17 verse 1, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Right? This whore sitteth upon many waters represents or means you know, the nations that the America oppresses, basically, that has rule over, right? And they can't get up out underneath them, man, right? Because like I said, they hold all the power. America holds that power, right? I think that's what I wanted from that. So Revelation 6 verse 4, and there went out another horse that was red, which represents Esau, Edom, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And you can see it. You can see it, man. That man just decided to strike Iran because they had some nuclear program, right? And America and then man said that you can't have this program, you know, because we don't want you to get nukes, right? Why? Well, because you know you might shoot Israel with them. All right, so they just can't, you know, progress with, you know, energy and capabilities and defenses and stuff like that because you said so. right? But you, like I said, you're the hypocrite who's drop bombs on Japan, right? Who permission did you ask? Well, they don't need to ask permission because they're the fucking great America. You know, the world just shuts up when it comes to America because ain't no one gonna do shit about it. So America get to do what the fuck they want to do, but they get to determine what everyone else gets to do. That's oppression. That's oppression, man. You know? So yeah, you know, he's the red horse taking peace from the earth. And so they strike who they want to strike. They kill who they want to kill. They want to assassinate Saddam. They'll assassinate Gaddafi. You know, they're going to find Bin Laden out there somewhere in a cave, something, you know. have a war on terror for 20 years or however long the fuck it was. Afghanistan gets fucked up. Iraq gets fucked up. Everywhere just gets fucked up wherever this guy goes. And it's like, yeah, it's cool though, isn't it? These nations are destroyed. You know, man, go Vietnam, just fuck that shit up. Just go fuck shit up, man. America, fuck yeah. You know, all this fucking patriot shit. They're just fucking up the world, man. Fucking people up, fucking with nations, stealing from them. Oh, we should have took the oil. Boy, you taking oil anyway. You know, you got the large reserves of oils, but you want to use everybody else's first. You're the devil, man. You are the devil. Right? Just so you can wage war indefinitely and you know, limit everybody else's capability of having any type of strength against you or whatever. You know, they call it American hegemony. It must be kept at all costs. And this is why Iran's getting fucked right now. You know, but like I said, it's not going to end. You know, it's not going to end the way America believes it's going to end or want it to end. Right? Because like I said, this is going to escalate. Just give it time. You know, time's a wonderful thing, man. And you got the patience to see it through. Us brothers, we've got patience, man. Yeah, we want to see Russia, man, jump into the fray now. And, you know, kick off World War III. But we understand, look, hey, there's a whole bunch of stuff that needs to happen as well. Okay, Mark of the Beast, hey, you got to be here. So we know it's not going to, you know, it's not going to happen tomorrow. But, you know, we know what's going to happen. And like I said, it's not going to end the way you people want it to happen. Right? It's going to end the way we want it to happen. Because that's the only side the Lord's on. The Lord's only on the side of his people. Right? And on the side of his prophecy, of his word. Right? So, you know, like I said, you got to do, time's great. You got to do is wait and things will manifest, man. All right. But back here, Revelation 6 verse 4, and they went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and they should kill one another. Right? These men are responsible for 2 world wars. Right? And just continuous war in general. Right? And it was given unto him a great sword. Right? Again, the great sword that he got is this nuclear capabilities. Right? He's got other weapons in his arsenal too. But that is the great weapon that he possesses. The most devastating of all the weapons that he has. You know, everyone's afraid of these things being used. You know? I'm going to close up with this. This is second Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to read the first verse here and jump down, right? So, it's for the ungodly, right? So this is the perspective of the ungodly, okay, which, you know, Esau is the ungodly, right? And it says, for the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright, right? So their men are not of sound reasoning, right? But this is how they think, right? Our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave, right? Let me jump down to verse 10 here, right? I'm going to read from 10. It says, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient grey hairs of the age, right? So just so you know, these Edomites, in general, they don't give a shit about nobody anyway, but at the elite level, right? Because they have the power, they've been given the power by the Heavenly Father on the left-hand side to rule over the earth, right? Because they have this power, they have no respect for nobody, not even their own people, right? So not only do they oppress the poor righteous man, which is the Israelites, right? But they oppress all peoples, right? Even their own that they considered useless and weak, right? Verse 11 says this: let our strength be the law of justice, right? And this is how they operate. As long as they have the power to do it, that's righteous. That's what they're the bully, right? They do things according to how they see things, and if they got the power to do it, and you can't stop them, what are you gonna do about it anyway? They set what's right and what's not right, because you people out here can't do nothing about it anyway, right? It says, let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble, i.e. weak, right, is found to be nothing worth, right? You're not worth anything. They don't give a fuck if you're weak and you ain't got, you ain't got shit to say. So everything essentially is prey unto them. Okay? Now they have to play chess. They have to play these games with these other larger nations like Russia, China, because they are somewhat formidable. They have some sort of strength, and they know it. I know America will always do that fucking bravado, because most of the time it's true, but it's not so easy when you come up against someone like Russia or China. It's not so clear cut then, because there is going to be great casualties, in conflicts with them. So they have to do all the other stuff, like, man might do a cyber attack, or throw some tariffs on them, or put some sanctions on them. You know what I mean? They won't directly go to war with these particular nations, because they have a certain level of capability. They have a certain level of strength, right? But these other nations that don't have the strength that, to stand against America, they can force. And this is what they're doing right now with Iran. They can force them. They're trying to force them with brute force, dropping bombs in them. So let our strength be the law of justice, because they spin it like, they're in the right. We're right for bombing Iran because they didn't agree to a deal. What? Oh yeah, because they would keep talking about destroying Israel. So yeah, we can't let them have a nuke. So we have to destroy them now. Blast them into oblivion. You know what I mean? Israel's already been doing too much as it is, man, and they're just on the front foot of everything, man, and no one ain't doing shit about it, man. So much, quote unquote innocent lives, civilians, right, just getting blown up for what? Because they're hunting down some Hamas or some shit. So what's all these civilian lives? What's all this gone? All this death for? Is it justified? Can you justify that? Oh yeah, but October 7th or 10th, or whatever the fucking date was. Look what they did. I don't know, a handful of people. And you justify all this bloodshed, but again, that's like that the Cain spirit, man. Is like they must have their revenge, and they're gonna have it 70 and sevenfold. They don't care. They don't care how much blood they got to shed to get the final, to get their agendas done. They don't give a shit. They'll keep bombing and keep killing, because that's Esau. He lives by the sword, and these nations can't do anything. Like I said, Israel's one thing, but to have America come down, that's too much for one of these nations in the Middle East, man. It's too much. A lot of them have done deals with America and that. They don't want to get involved. They don't really want to get involved, man. Because they're getting money right now. They don't want to upset that, so they want to get involved. Even though my Muslim brothers, all of that, they don't matter. They might have bought. They've been bought out, man. They're sold out. They ain't coming to help you. They're meant to be brothers, and but them man ain't giving a shit. So they're out there just getting fucked right now. So again, let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Right. So yeah, they're there for the pickings, man. They're prey to these men, and they're just gonna do what they want to do, because ain't no one gonna stop them, right? And this is why it's gonna take a Russia to step in, But like I said, that's the escalation of this scenario, man, which isn't gonna happen straight away, because like I said, there's still things in prophecy that need to be fulfilled. right? But it's something that's gonna happen at some point. All right. So yeah, Lord, it's been edifying. Like I said, I just want to show, that these Edomites, these Trump and these guys, man, they're the hammer of the earth, man. They're the oppressors of the world, right? They're the bullies of the world, man. And that's how they've ruled. How they've ruled the earth. That's how it's always been, right? They've gone around terrorizing nations and taking them down and establishing themselves, stealing land and destroying people, man, to get to serve their own agendas. It's always been this way, right? But these men, walk and talk like these are righteous things that they're doing. These men are the root of evil, man. Where they got the most money too, right? Right? No, but these men are peddling wickedness across the whole world, man, and violence. And the world is seeing that, right? The world is seeing that. These devils are unreasonable. And this is why the Lord's going to take them out. But anyway, I'm going to end it there. Lord, this has been edifying, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. Until next time, I say shalom.